We are making this epic sourdough. Hello and welcome to the kitchen. I am joined by Ruby Sear.
It's weird you saying it like that.
For years she's been wanting to learn how to do sourdough.
But it's a bit scary because it seems quite difficult, doesn't it? So I've just sort of never got round to learning it, but now
That's
today's
true.
the day.
Over the years I found out the way to simplify it for me and work it into the rhythm of my life.
You do it sometimes when you come back from a night of being out, don't you? I come downstairs and I just hear a vigorous slapping of some sourdough on the surface.
That's true, and sometimes I come down in the morning where I'm so drunk I forgot I even made it, and it still works. So this recipe will make 2 loaves. The great thing about this is you can make it once a week and you can have both these loaves to bake during the week. So I'll talk you through this whole process. Okay. It's very simple. Everything's going to be listed in the caption that you can refer back to about what to do. I've got a bowl here and I've got some bread flour. Now it's really important to have high protein bread flour. So this is very, very strong flour.
And the strongest, highest protein you can get, is that the best?
Because it's the most gluten, okay? And that's going to give you the best result for your sourdough. So first thing is our liquid and sourdough starter.
How long's he been alive?
He's been alive. So I fed him this morning at 5:15 a.m. Okay, it's now 2:30. So look how bubbly and live that is. A really active, bubbly starter. It's going to give us a great result. And I'll show you how to feed your starter after we've put this together. You can even see loads of bubbles in the bottom. Yeah. That's a lovely...
But how long have you had him is what I mean?
Oh, this one? I've had this actual starter originated when I first went on my course with George Sear, your brother, George Sear. When I first went on the course with George. So this is where I'm going to give a shout out, because I often do this. Shout out to Martha de Lacy. Martha de Lacy taught me how to make sourdough, and she taught it to go in my brain, because some people really complicate it, and I've had this ever since. So he's got to be about 7 years old, I think. So lovely and active. So what I'm going to do is just put my scales on, and I'm going to add my water. This is just tap water. Right, I'm just going to get the exact numbers because I'm a bit particular about my superstitions. Right, so there's liquid. This is 722 grams. The basic recipe is 700 ml water, 200 of starter, 1 kg of this, and then eventually 20 grams of salt. I am a bit superstitious about the number 2, and the great thing about this recipe is you can sort of you can flex it.
So sorry, why is it now 722? Just because you like the number 2?
Yeah. So don't confuse yourselves with that. The basic recipe is down below. You can tell if it's a really lovely, bubbly, active starter because it should float, okay?
Oh. And how many am I doing?
200 grams.
Like the guy from Ghostbusters. So that's 178. So let's do... You've got more starter.
There'll be extra left in there because you'll need to feed it again. So there you go. So that's now saying it's a bit over, but literally the beauty of it is you can just literally pull it out until you've got... So don't worry, you can just go straight back in the bowl. And we'll talk about the starter in a minute. We're just going to focus on getting this dough together first.
Oh, that's fine.
No, it's not. I very much believe in the magic of sourdough. So you've got your active starter in the water. So now we're going to use our hand just to kind of dissolve it. So you're going to get used to getting quite messy. So that's why it's very handy to have like a bread scraper. So just going to sort of do this just to kind of mix it into the water. Do you want to have a go?
Yeah.
It's quite nice. Feel it.
Reminds me of clay. So how long do I do this for?
Just so it's kind of roughly mixed. Doesn't matter if there's a few chunks in there. Back on, set the scales to 0, add in our flour.
There's a lot of flour in there.
Yeah, as I say, it's going to make 2 loaves.
Do you do 1002, I take it?
Yeah, I do. A kilogram. Mine's a kilogram and 2, just because I love the number 2. Don't go in with both hands. You'll regret it. Have your predominant hand as a claw, and then we're just going to sort of bring it together until it resembles a shaggy sort of porridge.
Shall I try?
Roll up your sleeve. So nice and slowly to salt, otherwise the flour.
You sort of fold it in, do you?
So you're just bringing, that's it. So bring the water into the centre. So you just take the time to sort of gently pull it together while there's a lot of floury powder in the bowl, and you'll find it will become stickier and stickier and stickier. What you're looking for is to be no random liquid in the bottom, and no sort of dry bits of flour.
Why did the baker have brown hands? Because he needed a poo.
Oh,
still quite a lot of powder in the bottom. So what? As it
scrape the edges.
Yes, start to kind of careful not to spill it over the side.
No, but just go round.
Yes, exactly. So you just being the claw. So this hasn't come together, it's very scrappy because we haven't added the salt. You'll see the change once that goes in and you'll feel the change, Ruby.
Okay.
That'll do, yeah. So now put your hand down to the bowl and you can, with your other hand, just scrape as much as you can off onto the ball.
Onto the ball.
That's it. Because you wouldn't want to be like going to the sink and washing your hands at this point.
And you're wasting dough.
You're wasting dough, but also you're going to really clog up your sink. Okay. I like to use my scraper just to get any scrappy bits down by the side of the bowl because otherwise they'll just dry out. Cover it over.
Okay.
Leave it for 30 minutes before we add the salt. And it's going to start to activate everything together, start the sourdough really going off. When you add the salt, it slows down the growing process, okay?
How long from this point till I bake?
So again, that varies. It can be as quick as doing this in the morning and you'll have a loaf in the evening. I used to find that I'd take a day and a half before I got my first loaf, but as I started doing this quicker process, I found that actually you can just have it a few hours in the bowl, then split it, put it in the basket, and it's still delicious. So that's going to wait for 30 minutes, and then we're going to add our salt in, and then you'll see it start to transform. Right, so once you've used your sourdough that we used earlier, there's a couple of tablespoons left in there. That's all you need to then feed it again, and I always do the same thing. So got my scales, and you need 100 grams of your bread flour.
Okay.
An equal quantity of water, so 100 grams of water.
Okay.
Just mix it round gently just to make it, well, mix it round and you'll see you'll get a paste. And while Ruby's doing that, I'm going to explain, a lot of people like to keep on top of their sourdough and feed it weekly. Lots of people talk about how, oh, I killed my starter, you know, it went all mouldy. You can actually leave it for a few weeks and it's really hard to kill a starter. I do recommend having a spare one in the fridge just in case, you know, you really do forget about it and something goes wrong with your starter. And also you can get a nice bit of active starter and freeze it, because if you have a real catastrophe you can bring back to life one from the freezer.
What, so I could just put this in the freezer, some of it?
Yeah, exactly. So compared to how you saw it earlier, when it was all
bubbly.
risen and jiggly. I mean, I'm not going to go into the science of sourdough. This is a simple sourdough recipe, but essentially what it's doing is feeding it, and it kind of eats itself, creates all the bubbles and all the gas, and that helps the bread to rise. I'm going to keep it as simple as that. I keep it like this if I'm like busy making lots of different doughs, but it's a good idea to get a pot to keep it in the fridge with the lid on.
Okay.
So I actually made you a special one this morning, so you can take yours home with you. Here is your starter now.
Oh, why is there a label?
Well, because you're going to name it. So my one's called Giorgio because I did the course with George.
I'm going to call it... I need to have a think about this. This is important.
What some people like to do is put an elastic band on when they first put it together to see how much it's grown. So that is peak ready to use. Okay.
So when I get home, I can bake one.
You could. So that'll be good like that if you keep it in the fridge for a couple of days. What will happen once it's eaten itself, it needs feeding again.
It'll get like that.
It collapses, okay, so it's got no gas. It needs feeding, yeah, so it's not very gassy at this point. So what will happen is, if you're not making your sourdough regularly, you might have to discard some. So say I wanted to feed this, I would take most of that out of the pot, just leave 2 tablespoons and do my 100 grams and 100 grams. So that's sat there for 30 minutes. Now it's time to add the sea salt, okay? So there it is, that's what you made earlier. It was quite scrappy, still looks
the same really, yeah.
Still looks the same. So I kind of like to get a bit of water and just sprinkle the surface a bit, just so it helps it dissolve. Not too much, just scatter over with the salt. Do you want to do this or do you want me to do this?
I'll let you do it.
Okay, so we've got our claw again. So the best way to do it is just sort of push it in like that. See how it will start to get smoother.
Yeah, already it has.
Lift it up. Bring it in like this. So you can see it's already starting to really want to stick to itself, okay? So if you just dampen your hand a little bit before you, that's another top tip as well. If you are going to be stretching and folding the dough or anything, if you just dampen your hand a tiny bit, it's not going to stick. Yeah, see the difference?
Oh yeah, it's much smoother.
You can either sort of like stretch it around in the bowl. I like to do a bit of flipping on mine just because that's how I do it. So get the whole thing out. See how it's sort of like staying together better now?
You don't need flour on the surface?
No, definitely not. So that's a good question actually, Ruby. That's just going to dry out your recipe. You just need to be confident, know that you're going to be sticky and clean yourself off at the end. So this is how I just kind of like
Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It is, yeah. So I like to pick it up. Yeah, I slap and fold it like that. So I just basically go. You're picking it up in its middle. If you're imagining it's a little baby you're holding there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got it like that, and then you kind of
Flip.
do it like that
And fold.
Fold. Yeah.
Okay.
There's loads of different ways to knead and stuff online. So have a look, see what works best for you. This is how I like to do it. I'll just do this for like 30 seconds to a minute. That's all I'm going to do for the hands-on time. Please be my guest.
Go like this.
Yep.
And then I go flip, fold.
That's it.
I mean, it wasn't very good.
No, but it takes a few
fine.
goes. That's fine.
And then I go flip, fold.
Where you were kind of going wrong, you were lifting it up like that, and then you were going flip, fold like that, leaving it for too long and it's back. See how it's kind of quite shiny on the top? So it's almost like what I was doing was just, but not letting go.
Go like that. And
Yeah.
go.
Well, once you've done it a few times,
It's really hard.
it's surprising, isn't it?
Make it look so easy.
Well, I guess because I've been doing...
That is just...
don't have to get it out like that. You can just leave it in the basket and do a few lifts. So I'm going to talk about that now. Don't
How's it got mixed up to me and not
because
you?
back in the bowl, right? Cover it over. It's going to rise up. I would say you want to leave it out for 3 to 4 hours ish.
In room temp.
Yeah. So what you can do with this now, if you're around and it suits you, every hour or so you can do a stretch and fold. This is a classic move in bread making, a stretch and fold. You'll come back now or later, whenever you want to do it, damp hand, and this is how you do a stretch and fold. You lift it, stretch, fold it over, quarter turn, stretch, fold, quarter turn, stretch. See how it's really tight now? And what you're doing with that, that's just developing the gluten a bit, adding a bit of air in. So that's how you do it. The whole process of just leaving it to grow, you can do it slowly so say you put this together, put it in the fridge overnight and just not even stretch and fold it. You might not get that huge oven spring or big ear, but it's going to be bloody lovely. So yeah, if you want to, a few stretch and folds while it's out on the surface, okay?
Okay.
So let's get rid of this one. We'll clear down and we'll come back to one that's had that time, and we're going to separate it and put it in the basket.
Okay.
Okay? Right, this one's been resting for about 3 or 4 hours.
Okay.
Do you want to have a look?
Yeah. Oh, it's a bit bigger, isn't it? And
Yeah.
bubblier.
It's growing up, it's bigger, bubblier. So now we're going to get it out of the bowl and we're going to split it in two and shape it, okay? This again is where this one comes in really handy.
Yeah.
You can use your hands to get it out. This is the best way to do it. And literally I'm going to plop him onto the surface. See how kind of it's, you can see it's bubbly in there.
With that scraper,
Oh,
isn't it?
definitely. So you want to cut it in half, and again, using this is useful. So Martha Lacey taught me this, and she described it as like when you cut it, it's almost like it will become like a pair of lungs. So you kind of go like that, see?
Oh, yeah.
Right, and just go through again. You want to confidently split them in two, roughly equal sizes. We're not going to be weighing them. So do you think that looks like about the same size each blob?
He's a bit bigger.
Okay, well, at this point, we'll just...
That's about right.
Right. So this is how to shape it. So we want to make them into a tight ball and leave them on the surface before they go into the basket. So the best way to do it is to use a scraper. So the action you're doing, you go like that and you're keeping it, you're almost keeping contact with the surface the whole time. So watch this. So you walk it across and you're kind of, as you walk it across, you're tucking it under itself. And it will take a couple of goes across the surface. So watch and learn. Watch what happens here. See, it's all still like a bit of a ball bag.
Yeah.
We want it to be all smooth on the top, okay? So see, it's all getting smoother. Do you want to have a go at that one from the start, or do you want to have a go at this one?
I'm right-handed.
Do whichever way you want.
So I can go this side, can't
Yeah. That's it. So that's okay. Yeah. That's it.
I? He's gone a bit far.
Do you want to bring him back? That's it. See? Oh no! So that's. I'm glad you've done that. The whole time, what you want to do is you're keeping
on that.
the join on the bottom, right? If that happens though, look, you just bring him back. So that's why you're kind of keeping it underneath. So, see what happened there is you lifted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to keep it on the
So
surface.
keep it almost if you imagine that you're not lifting it up, okay? If you touch that, sticky, touch that.
Smooth.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah,
like
so
that
just do
way,
it, treat
I
it the same way, even though so quickly. So don't lift up, so
Oh yeah,
can I hold you?
don't lift up, it's like that, isn't it?
That's it, yeah, that's it. Could try and use the other hand and go the other way. That's it. Hang on. That's it. Perfect. Let me hold your hand. Right, so just relax.
Yeah.
So you go. See how I'm using a lot of pressure. I'm really pushing into the surface. Try. You need to be cuddling it inwards.
Okay, yeah.
So you're going like that.
Okay.
I reckon you've done it.
I reckon he's done.
That's lovely.
Shall I move him over there?
No, because what's going to happen if you do that?
Oh, you have to walk him over.
You'd have to walk him over. Do you want to go? Do you want him to meet his friend?
Yeah.
So as you can see, this one that I did about 5 minutes ago, it's already sort of sunk down a bit and started to spread. This one's still a bit more plump. So just leave them there for about 10-15 minutes or so, no longer than 20 minutes, just to relax. And then we will put them in the basket. Right, they're ready to go in the baskets.
Okay.
So top tip here, I used to use bread flour in the basket, but if you use gluten-free flour in your baskets, it doesn't stick.
Okay.
So if you use bread flour, over time, if you've got a bit of moisture, it would stick to the fabric. Sometimes you find it would
really
stick.
annoying to get off, isn't it?
Yeah, so I'm just going to scatter it all over the basket, so it kind of goes a bit on the side and on the bottom.
Like so.
So pass me the flour, please. Then what you need to do, a little bit of flour on the top of your dough, a bit on the surface. Okay, polish it over. Now confidently, we're picking it up and we're turning it on its back.
I'm going to go like this.
That's it, flip
and I'm
it.
going to go like that.
That's it, yeah, brilliant. So do mine. So you got the hang of that. On its back. What I want to do is stretch it out a little bit. So the way I like to do it is just, again, pick it up. So it is a bit sticky there. So put a little bit on that on there, put in your hands. So what I'm going to do now is just pick it up and like stretch it. So literally just like lift it up like that just to kind of stretch it.
Sort of like the pizza dough.
A bit like the pizza dough, but it's not the whole way. So just to kind of stretch it out a bit like that. Just sort
So
of,
you just kind of do roughly
yeah,
a bit
just
more
not
stretch.
as much. Just sort of, so you almost
So
like,
should we just do, that's about right.
yeah, just kind of stretching out in a bit of a sort of like rectangle. That's it. Okay. So now we're going to put the baby to bed.
Okay.
Lift up the top and press it down. Take a bit there and pinch it over. It's like a little plait. This way over. Lift and fold in.
Oh, I've seen
See?
you do this, yep. It's quite fun.
Yeah. And then
Roll.
roll it up tightly. All the way onto its back. Seam side up. Pop it in its basket.
That's it.
Yeah. Right, I'm just going to cover it over. I like to let them just relax there for 10 minutes or so, and then they go into the fridge.
For how long?
So you can put it in the fridge for a few hours and then bake them, like I say, if you want to do it on the same day, or what I quite like to do, because I love sourdough at the weekend, pop it in the fridge the night before and then it's ready to bake in the morning.
Lovely.
And just one thing to say about that, so we'll bake one in the morning, we'll demolish that. A couple of days later, you can bake this one.
So you could leave that overnight for another 2 nights.
Yeah. Or even, the longest I've ever done is just over 3 days and it still was love. It still was love. Still was lovely. So now it's ready to bake.
Okay.
It's in the basket. We've left it in the fridge. So if we have a look, why don't you peel back the cover?
Look. Oh, it's all gone puffy.
Yeah, lovely and ready to
Lovely
bake.
and
Don't press it
cold.
too hard.
Okay.
So what we're going to do, we need to put it in the pot. So I've preheated the oven to maximum. It's on 240 degrees and I've put very hot. And I've put my sourdough pot in there to preheat, so it's red hot. Mine's quite a deep pot, and I like to have a deep pot because you get a good oven spring. So I need paper to lower it in.
Okay.
Now, top tip, when you're doing your paper, because it's sort of like quite creasy, screw it up first.
Oh.
Yeah. Then open it out again because it's going to mould round it better now.
That is really clever.
Yeah. Would you like to do the honours of plopping onto
How
there
do I do it?
carefully?
Just plop it
quickly
upside
and
down?
confidently, not plop it. You sort of, I would go like that, and then allow it to just gently place on. Okay.
Like that.
Love it.
Lovely.
Look at that lovely puff. We need to score it. So you know when you've got your sourdoughs and they've got that lovely kind of crack going down. Some people call it an ear. Some people call it a gringe.
Okay.
But that's the kind of like the look of it. So you get that by scoring it. So you can use a sharp knife. But we've got our bread lame here, very, very sharp razor. So you usually, when you see the sourdough when it's finished, it's got
straight down the middle.
So, but no, so you actually do it on the side because as it rises, it's going to
goes
open
up.
out.
Oh, that's clever.
Okay, just very confidently, like that. So I'm seeing, I'm not kind of going like this, I'm almost like kind of imagining it's a lip there, you see that? So that's now ready to go in. I'm going to grab an ice cube.
Ice cube?
Yes. I didn't used to do this, but this is going to create steam inside the pot that's going to make it extra crispy.
Oh.
Put that to the side. I've got something here, pot's very hot. You need really strong oven gloves for this because these cast iron pots are very heavy.
So I should probably get some like that.
Perhaps Madre might send you a nice little package in the post, but you do need barbecue gloves are a really good hack. Okay. I do worry about your twiggy arms. I don't want you to get burnt.
No.
So I'm going to get this out.
Okay, you get it out.
And it's red hot, so that goes there. Just put the lid there. So you need to work quickly at this stage. So gloves off, just because I find that easier.
And just layer
Careful,
it in.
not pop it in. So cube goes in there,
Underneath
the paper, so it doesn't make it soggy. Lid back on.
Whoa.
Okay. See all that steam coming up already. Open the door, please. And then we go. So that's going to bake for 30 minutes on the top temperature with the lid on. Then after 30 minutes, we are going to take the lid off. Then we just need to brown it off with the lid off.
The lid off, how long for?
About 12 minutes. So Alexa,
Not long then.
set timer 30 minutes. So that's had 30 minutes with the lid on.
Okay.
Let's have a look. Right, okay, let's have a look inside. Be careful.
Oh, he looks really good.
So that's lovely, that's looking great. It's a lovely ear on that. So that's going to go back in the oven. If you open the door for me there, Ruby.
And how long for?
Let's turn the temperature down to 220 now, so you don't want it to really burn. Alexa, set timer 12 minutes. I think it's done.
Shall we have a look? That looks perfect.
Oh, doesn't it look good?
Oh my goodness.
You can turn the oven off now, Rubes. Right, so again, another reason why it's quite good to have these gloves.
Oh my god.
Right, hang on 1 second, because I want you to hear something very special. And if we're all quiet, we'll be able to hear it sing. It takes about a minute. Now the trouble is, what's the hardest bit we always have?
I want to eat it right now.
So Ruby always wants to demolish this. Now, if you cut into it now, you've seen it happen, haven't you? It's too hot and steamy. If you put your bread knife through it, it just basically drags it down. It'll go all pasty, so you have to have a bit of patience. I would say, ideally, you want to leave that for about 20 minutes before you slice it.
You still want it hot?
You want it warm, yeah. So we're going to have to wait for 20 minutes.
I don't know if I can. Can I please have it now?
Do you think it's cooled down enough?
Definitely.
So
Can I do it?
satisfying. Okay, I do worry about your hands, but...
So about there?
Yeah. How good does that look? Shall I cut this some?
Yes, please. Okay. You can't beat it, can you?
What are you going to call him, Ruby?
Okay, this is Slimer. He's now part of the family.
I hope you'll be enjoying making the most delicious sourdough at home, and let me know if you do.
It's worth it.
100%.